Hi everybody, welcome to another VMware Pulse update. We've done 3 of these now, and we're back by popular demand, or maybe not as popular as we'd like. Today we've got a couple of things that we want to cover through on an agenda. But first I'll introduce some colleagues that I've got around me today. We have Ludmilla with us, who's one of our partner SEs. We have Lee, thanks for joining us Lee, from Arrow, who is the data center director over there. And then we have Carl, my partner in crime, who looks after our partner technical community. Welcome, Anna. Very big thanks to see you here, having traveled to be here. Anna's the CEO of NetClean, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. And Phil, welcome Phil, who's one of our partner business managers. So the content that we'll run through today is really about some of the key updates that we need to get across for the Q3 period of VMware's fiscal year. We're not currently recording any of the numbers or publishing them out loud. However, what I can tell you is for the last fiscal period of VMware, the UK market grew about 13%. But as per usual, the managed partner list that is supported by people like Ludmilla and like Phil have managed to generate a 33% growth gap to the performance that the UK market has seen. So it goes to show that where we've got our people aligned and we collaborate really well with the partner community together, we deliver an incremental benefit to the VMware business. So again, another big thank you. It's starting to be a broken record because this happens every single quarter. So the main content that we'll run through today is around an update from both Lee and Anna in terms of some of the ESG strategy that VMware and Arrow have and how NetClean fits perfectly in with the strategy that we have there. We're going to do a piece that covers an update on all things Explore, since we're only back 2 weeks from Barcelona. And then the final piece really is about what we hear more than anything else about how we're supposed to support customers going through the transition of our product portfolio. Yeah. What do you hear, Carl, as the most sort of questions we're asked?
Yeah, so at the moment, most of the questions we're getting is helping customers understand the transition from a CPU count to a core count. So obviously, across the industry, it's all going a lot more into the core count.
Yeah.
And we're helping customers understand and be able to report on their core count so they can take advantage of the discount offerings we've got at the moment to be able to help them get from 16 to 32 cores for free. So that's taken up a lot of our time to help customers make that transition from the mentality of CPUs to cores.
And the vSpherePlus element of our portfolio is becoming one of the most important topics going forward for this year. Yeah. So Phil is going to help talk through that particular platform for us. So what we will do next, without any further ado, is we'll hand over to Phil, who's going to be able to talk us through some of the elements of vSpherePlus.
Thanks, Andy. Now, you'll have heard, perhaps even begun discussions with your customers on vSpherePlus. And I want to ensure you've got what you need to begin accelerating your growth with vSpherePlus. Now, there are multiple reasons that businesses still often prefer running many of their workloads in traditional on-premise data centers, such as better economics, latency sensitivity, data sovereignty, and the technical complexities of refactoring and migrating. However, increasingly, they also like the benefits that the cloud brings to their environment, and this is where vSpherePlus comes into play, the best of both worlds. With this new offering, customers can leverage the benefits of the cloud with their on-premise workloads with no migrating or refactoring because everything remains on-premise, but cloud connected. With vSpherePlus, customers can enhance productivity with admin services by operating through a central cloud console. They can transform the environment into a Kubernetes platform and leverage developer services to accelerate innovation. They can take advantage of cloud benefits on-premise without any downtime or disruption. Prior to vSpherePlus, customers purchased vSphere by way of perpetual license, one for each vCenter instance required, and separately the ESXi license per CPU or socket. Customers owned these licenses and were required to pay yearly SNS. Now with vSpherePlus, we're introducing an all-inclusive single subscription to purchase with 1, 3, and 5-year term-based options. This purchase includes vSphere Enterprise Plus, and with Enterprise and Enterprise Plus available as it stands for the SUP upgrade program. But do look out for vSpherePlus Standard coming mid-December, in fact. Now, this also includes a new bundling of Tanzu Standard Runtime and Tanzu Mission Control Essentials, giving businesses a window into any container sprawl or Kubernetes distributions they may have. With vSpherePlus, the vCenter is included, meaning customers can deploy as many instances of vCenter as desired. So for any of your customers with upcoming renewals and multiple vCenters, this is the perfect play. Lastly, as you've heard, vSpherePlus is licensed per core. This is done for a variety of reasons and to help you and your customers get the best price possible and fitting with our new core model, we need the core count to come from the business. This allows the business to take advantage of the 16-core discount available on all sub upgrades, meaning if your customer has a 32-core CPU, they only pay for the 16 cores, the first 16 cores, and with no overage charges until 3rd of October 23. This discount, importantly, covers the entire term, so be that 1, 3, or 5 years, they can get essentially half price for if they have the 32 core for that entire period. And this is ultimately what that looks like. Now that's all well and good, but what does it really do for a customer? With growing infrastructure comes poor visibility and control across different geos, clouds, and edge locations. And with routine infrastructure maintenance costs spiraling and exacerbating the issues, vSpherePlus solves this with the Cloud Console. The Cloud Console gives the ability to lifecycle vCenter from a central cloud location, as well as being able to provision VMs directly from the cloud to any vCenter and a growing set of cloud services residing out on VMware Cloud. There's a few, problems, and to give you some idea, we can help obviously achieve more results quickly through SaaS. You can align purchasing with OpEx models. You can future-proof your business with a self-service Kubernetes platform, and look at that container sprawl or Kubernetes distributions. But you can also look at the operational cost savings with a centralized view of vSphere infrastructure. But what's in it for you? So richer margins with deal registration versus renewals. There's CLI incentives up to $33,000. And there's the upsell ability, on those cloud services. And lastly, there's also the ability to add your own partner services, professional services, and remote administration through the Cloud Console. There's a couple of requirements, from a subscription perspective. What we need is you to complete, if you've already completed your VOP-SE 2021, we need you to add in your VOP-SC, or you can do the entirety, and this includes for new partners, the VOP-SE 2022. And now to hand over to Andy, Anna, and Lee.
So welcome to the next conversation. We're going to talk about sustainability because that's a topic that's definitely on the mind of our customers. We know that because it appears in tenders. But it's also on the mind of partners and asking us what we're going to specifically do to forward that conversation. At VMware, we have our 2030 agenda, which is 30 actions that we're going to take before 2030 that focuses on how to integrate the actions into our business strategy that delivers 3 outcomes. And those outcomes are trust, equity, and sustainability. So Lee, coming from Arrow, I'm aware of your sustainability heritage as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you like to give us a quick introduction?
Yeah, no problem. So as you mentioned already, Andy, there's a lot of this request within the tender space when partners are working with us, asking us already as well that what does our sustainability and our ESG platform look like. We've got some clear goals that we've set out around ESG. So from an environmental standpoint, we're looking to reduce our carbon footprint across the globe with the way that we work with the community. From a gender and diversity standpoint, looking to increase the representation of women within the leadership space within Arrow. So it's fundamental to what we do. It's not just a nice to have anymore. It is important for who we are as a business. It builds trust. There's a moral element to it as well, not just, this is a nice to have a tick box exercise. We believe in it as individuals and as leaders. Obviously from the NetClean perspective as well, what they stand for, that plays a part in it. We look at the technology that we sell and that we take out with our customers, and there's got to be a fundamental moral and an ESG obligation to the end user community, and that's fundamental to what our partners are doing as well.
So thanks, Lee. We're now going to talk about the G part of the ESG, which is, of course, governance. And Anna, do you want to tell us what the real risk is to organizations that fail to recognize the importance of looking at governance?
So I think that to not have a good governance system in place is really risky for any business, especially going forward if you want to be able to have a business in the future. I think that for us, our companies use our technology to work with their ethical values as well as to fulfill their compliance and policies that they have. And I think that, as you said, that it's not nice to have anymore, it's a need to have. And in order to be a trustful company, to attract talent and to attract investor, I think it's absolutely crucial to have good governance.
Absolutely. So give us an insight into what NetClean and the solution is and how we can really focus on driving the governance together with our partners and customers.
Yeah, so our products make sure that the company don't have child sexual abuse material on their networks and in their IT systems. So together with Carbon Black, we can make it easier for companies to protect themselves against this illegal behavior, because it is what it is. I mean, when people consume child sexual abuse material, it's illegal behavior, and it puts the whole company at risk. So I just came from Barcelona, where we had very good traction with both the partner community and then customer community, as well as with VMware, where we talked about the ESG agenda, and we had a session with the end-using computer. So we are integrating our products into Carbon Black and Workspace ONE.
Perfect. You've been a Technology Alliance partner for a while of VMware's now, which is a really important part of what we do together. I think the one thing that it'd be good to highlight is just how much of this material has increased over the course of the pandemic and post-pandemic period.
Yeah, so we know from our existing customer base that 1 in 500 are using the work computer to consume child sexual abuse material, which obviously puts a lot of companies at risk. And it's an underestimated risk in that perspective, because if you have someone in your company that has sexual interest in children, that person could be, of course, blackmailed for company-sensitive information. These type of images can be found on suspicious places over the internet, which can contract a lot of other potential threats to the IT environment. So it is essential that companies work with it. And I also wanted to say that this is actually something that is filling a gap in the existing security portfolios at the moment, because the companies that we have as customers have a lot of security measurements in place already.
Sure, and I think the blurring of the home network and the VPN corporate network has caused an awful lot of that material to now appear on side of corporate networks, which can drive huge reputational challenges for the companies involved, that it's critical that we try and do something to prevent this from happening. So with that in mind, Lee, what are we going to do?
Good question. And there's a lot we can do. And we've recently onboarded NetClean to Arrow's portfolio as its own standalone brand within the network and security division. But given the opportunity that this drives, and given the moral obligation as not only parents and as people in the community, we really do believe that this should be something driven by the data center brand as well. There is a bundle coming out around the VMware piece, so a software piece with NetClean and VMware that will be available to customers. Come and speak to Arrow about more information around that. We are the subject matter experts in this technology. We're not expecting the partner community to know everything about this. We will make it easy to consume, easy to take to customers. We'll give them that credibility. I mean, you've spoken at length around where it would fit, but I don't think there's a single vertical out there that our partners sell into that this wouldn't be a good fit for. So let's make it easy, let's make it quick, and let's make it price sensitive so that they can take it out quick and get some quick returns on it as well.
Yeah. So I think just for further information, NetClean provides an introductory to some of the insights in your annual reports that come out around just some of the context of where this lies. but it's important for your customers because there are plenty of customers that are using you at the moment. We will flash up the link to be able to go see that particular piece of information because it's an interesting read. It's challenging when you know the statistics around 1 in 500 people.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think if we actually do something, if we make some action together, which is what Arrow and VMware are doing, then hopefully we will make an impact in some of the stuff that we can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. We're actually going to move over and get an update from what Anna spoke about earlier in Barcelona, which was the VMware Explore conference that went on. We were expecting round about 5,000 people to register for that particular event. On the days, which was the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there were 9,000 people that registered for that event. So the hunger to hear the updates of what innovation VMware is driving to the marketplace certainly was pretty strong. So over to you, Carl and Ludmilla.
Ludmilla, thank you very much for joining me to have a chat through our highlights from Explore. So it's 2 weeks ago now, the content catalog's coming out. We can start to watch the replays. So many announcements and capabilities which are coming through. But to start off with, I think the obvious one's got to be right at the top, front and centre is vSphere 8. So personally for myself, vSphere 8 has had so many improvements just in the fundamentals across the board. So vMotion's had dramatic improvements. DRS I know has had big improvements. But the standout one is Project Monterey actually getting through into GA and really being able to put it in the hands of the customers. So what that has given our customers the ability to utilise is Smart NICs to be able to offload VDS functions and some of the NSX functions. And people will ask, well, why would you want to do that? But actually, a CPU spends a lot of its time having to service these additional functions. So if you can allocate that to a separate device, that just gives you more time for the applications. The other big one which stood out to me is our continuing integration of Kubernetes into the core vSphere platform. And in vSphere 8, we've now got Tanzu Kubernetes Grid 2, which gives support for multi-availability zone across clusters and improved lifecycle management. And Phil called out before the vSpherePlus. So one of the capabilities, an example in vSpherePlus, is to be able to have the cloud connector provide an IaaS self-service portal to Kubernetes developers. So externally, they have ability to be able to provision infrastructure without having to get access to vCenter itself. So what have been the highlights for yourself?
So along with vSphere 8, vSAN 8 has been a highlight for me, especially the express storage architecture, which is perfect for performance utilization. It will give customers 4 times higher performance while still maintaining that data protection and storage efficiency. And on top of that, customers can get higher storage and CPU utilization, so they can still be able to reduce the TCO by 40%. And lastly, the snapshots. Snapshots can now be taken in a much more efficient way thanks to that express storage architecture. So from that, what's been your next highlight?
Yeah, I think the integration between vSphere 8 and vSAN 8 is brilliant. I mean, lots of customers comment on how well they integrate together and the visibility between the two, so it's great to see the new releases for those two. The other highlight for me, and I suppose we get a lot of questions around, is ARIA and what that means and what it is we're doing with ARIA. So a lot of people are familiar with the vRealize suite as was, which were all very capable, best of breed in their own particular areas, either for monitoring or logs or network analysis. And what it is we're trying to do now is take a transition through to potentially point solutions with elements of integration to be able to have all data put into a central repository into ARIA Graph, and then you can utilize that for workflows. So there's a whole lot of details behind that, but fundamentally we're making a transition to be able to have orchestrated workflows. So one of the things we're working on at the moment is being able to have a workflow for assess my environment, which applications would be best to move to a particular cloud, what things do I need to consider around cost or networking stack. So there's a lot to ARIA. I really would suggest people to go and have a look at the replays and explore from that, but it's really exciting about what it is we're doing to help people get better visibility into their cloud environments. So on that, Ludmilla, how do we actually let people get access to ARIA?
So luckily we have a free tier version of ARIA available, so customers can register and get a free tier version of ARIA, which I really like, is that you don't need any VMware products or services. You don't even have to be a VMware customer. Anyone can utilize the new free tier version of ARIA and actually be able to manage their multi-cloud environment much more easily.
I think that's great. I think I'm really looking forward to our customers starting to get their hands on this and start to trial it. From the pieces I've seen, it's very powerful, and to be able to offer that up as a free version for people to start to utilise it is really powerful.
Yeah.
So the last one from me of a highlight is the VMware ransomware recovery for VMware Cloud DR. That's quite a mouthful, but as part of the vSpherePlus Phil was talking about, it's very increasingly wanting to be able to provide services to our customers from the console. VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery has been a feature out for a while, but I think we all are aware of the increasing rise of ransomware. I think everybody knows the story of the impact it's had, either within your organisation or somebody in the industry where it's massively caused them challenges around data loss. So VMware has worked really hard to come to market with ransomware discovery, which actually goes through and looks at the environment to be able to find good and work with the IT team to find good known points to restore to. And that can also be down to a file level or a whole VM. The other benefit is that a lot of the transition times around recovering an environment is being able to power back up the machine. So as part of the Cloud DR solution, that we don't actually have to transfer the environment up into VMC and AWS into its native storage. We can do it from the previous Datrium acquisitions storage array, which is really powerful. Half the challenge is the time to actually be able to have a look to see if it's consistent. So I think this is a real quick win for a lot of customers who are looking for both a Cloud DR strategy and also trying to understand what would be the process to recover from ransomware. So on that, what's another one of your highlights?
Well, another highlight of mine was Project North Star. I definitely think it's up there with the other projects that we've had, for example, Project Arctic and Project Monterey. It's got a range of benefits that will definitely help our customers. For example, scalable lateral security, where we can protect and secure all the workloads on a multi-cloud environment through 3 key components: distributed firewalling, NSX intelligence as a service, and network detection and response as a service. As you can see, I'm saying as a service a lot. And that's because with Project North Star, one of the capabilities is that it's a SaaS-based on-demand service model that we're offering customers. So customers can actually consume this on a much more easy, flexible model. And as an end result, they can deliver applications much more fast and deliver to the market very fast and with value.
I think one of the things we've seen here across Explore and a lot of the announcements is very much a direction of going towards subscription and SaaS model, which is ultimately to give people flexibility about where they want to potentially be running their workloads and having that one control plane. So I think across all our announcements, we've seen that as a trend. But putting technology to aside a little bit, is there any other announcements which particularly you thought was interesting?
Absolute favourite of mine, and one that touches my heart, has got to be Kit's segment that he did on the Tech for Good, VMware's Tech for Good, where he discussed how our products at VMware, from vSphere to even vCDR, how we're helping customers save energy. So for example, with vSphere, with server consolidation, customers are not needing to spend as much energy on servers. And with vCDR, customers no longer need that on-prem data center. They have one in the cloud, which again is saving energy. And on top of that, we have a zero carbon committed initiative with a range of our partners such as AWS, Microsoft, IBM, and the aim is to ensure that all of their data centers are running on renewable energy by 2030. So we're really trying to help the planet and also our customers.
Yeah, I saw another note on that around a green score being available in vSphere. So I know our engineers have spent a lot of time not only making recommendations around where's best running the workload, but now also thinking about it, what's the most environmentally best place to run a workload. So I think that's been really interesting, and thank you for taking the time for going through. I know we tried to go through a lot there. I'll be spending the rest of my months going through the catalogue. I know there's well over 100 sessions of really interesting updates. So yeah, thank you for taking the time to go through them, Lamilla.
Thanks.
So thanks to everybody who helped us out with presenting today. Some really good content there, and I think some really important stuff that we're going to try and put together with NetClean. We've managed to recover from our time in Barcelona. What were your highlights?
I'd just love to see the continuation of us executing on our strategy. I mean, every Explore or historically VMware will just be about giving people choice and flexibility, both in the multi-cloud world, and I think the VMC on Equinix bare metal is really exciting for anybody wanting to co-locate, and the edge strategies. And one thing I'm looking forward to actually getting to configure and work on is the XR4000 server from Dell, which is a very small form factor for highly available edge locations. So just continuation of executing on our strategy.
Cool. Well, we've got our final quarter of the year coming up, so it'll be all hands on deck, I think it was the expression I was trying to use. So if you've got any questions, if you've got any sort of queries about how we can help conclude some of the business that's out there for Q4, then please do give us a shout. Thanks, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Cheers.